Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Ducks football.
Touchdown, Oregon. Byron Cardwell. That was quick.
We have to push ourselves to be the best that we want to be.
Pressured, steps up, goes down. Sack Brandon Dorless.
We think iron sharpens iron, right? You want to create that competitive environment. You have to do things that are hard.
Way down for Thornton. He's got it. He's going to score. What a stop by Oregon's Noah Sewell. Oh, what a throw. What a catch. Terrence Ferguson.
I'm excited about the energy that our coaches bring and the energy our players bring day in and day out.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Country Financial Insurance, protect what matters, and by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Now let's go to the Country Financial Studios and talk Oregon Ducks football.
Thank you and welcome into a Wednesday on our Oregon Football Coaches Show. Head coach Dan Lanning, he enjoys this show so much he gets here early every week. You know, we get a chance to talk a little bit.
That's
how
that
much
nice?
he enjoys. Yeah, it's just tremendous.
It's actually nice.
Coach, congratulations.
Get him in, get him out.
Congratulations last Sunday morning when that game finally ended. It was a little late one.
Thank you, yeah.
A game that well, I guess I'm going to ask you this because I think you probably were asked this in the postgame. You know, what do you say to your team in the locker room after a game like that where they played many parts of it extremely well and then parts of it didn't go obviously very well?
Yeah, congrats on the win. We're always going to celebrate wins, but let's get back to work, right? Let's go focus on what we can improve on, and our guys have always embraced that. You know, since the beginning of the season, they've focused on what they can improve on and know that they still have more, left in the tank.
Before we talk offense, defense, special teams, Arizona a little bit later, 8 o'clock crowd was unbelievable. And I gotta tell you, Coach, I mean, even Jerry and I looked at that 8 o'clock crowd after doing it all the years that we've done it. That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great crowd. I don't usually get a chance to go out to the field before the game, but Matt Neuer, came up to me before the game. He goes, the student section was packed with 45 minutes to go till the game. So that's pretty impressive that our fans made such an appearance, and definitely we're part of that environment. Saturday night made it really special for our guys.
I know when the game gets going, a lot of guys say they don't hear the noise on a big run, interception, or a play, but a crowd like that, especially with the students back, their fellow classmates back, that's got to do something to them.
Oh, yeah, you can hear the noise. Anybody that says that's lying, because I'm trying to yell at the corner that's on our sideline, and he can't hear me. So that tells you a little something that the crowd noise is real. It certainly makes an impact.
Especially on the opposing team. We're talking about the 12th man, and that's been
right.
used and used. But that noise really affects the way a team, an opposition, tries to communicate.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge advantage for us.
Well, to be able to start the game like you did. I mean, defensively come out and make the stop right off the bat. Dorless with the sack. Offense gets some things going, but it just juiced the crowd that much more to make things happen early.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the fan base, us being able to go out and perform well early and really keep the fans in the game was a big piece for us.
He is head coach Dan Lanning. By the way, our Pepsi coaches interview here on the Coaches Show brought to you by Toyota. So much to talk about, and your team has progressed along the way to a point that you want to feel really good about it, but at the same time, you're still realizing that they're not there yet. How do you approach each week trying to break down what it is they need to get better at without overloading them?
Yeah, I think that's a fine art. Our guys are good at noticing places that we need cited improvement, and they've done a good job of attacking it. I think our coaching staff does a really good job of trying to assess things before they become issues for us and identify them and make sure our guys can attack them, which they've been able to embrace. I think the other piece of that is you have to do a good job highlighting when guys are doing things right, and we've had a lot of things go right this year. A lot of things have been done right, so building off of those, right, being able to point out the things we're doing right and where we're growing and getting better, and then identify the things that we can continue to improve.
Yeah, a lot of questions peppered at you about the amount of penalties and that type of deal. Now, I'm not going to go there because you guys have addressed it and continue to address it. But I think what a lot of fans out there don't know is that you have officials at practices on a regular basis. So tell us kind of, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit of the role that they play, how you manage them and how they manage the practices as officials at practices.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want to play the game as many times as we can before we play the game, right? So we'll have periods during practice. We call it a move the field period in practice, or just a standard period in practice where we'll have officials that officiate just like they would officiate the game, right? They'll call penalties. They'll manage the game in the same operation as we'll see on Saturday. So it's a benefit for us to recreate that game experience in practice.
Do you argue with them during those periods too?
Not a lot of arguments.
Okay.
No, not a lot of arguments. But you'll notice I don't spend a lot of time. Maybe I do a little bit. But
No,
not,
you don't.
Not too much time arguing with the officials on game day. Control what you can control, right?
That's right.
When you talk penalties, and I know no coach, and you certainly don't want even one penalty, but there are two types of penalties in my mind when I look at a team, and I think there's the kind that, you're just not focusing false start, those types, and then there's the type of penalty just from playing so hard that you create a situation where you're just going full out and you don't quite have control of it. As a head coach or as a coaching staff, do you recognize those types of things?
Yeah, we talk about the difference in pre-snap and post-snap penalties. Pre-snap penalties are usually, like you said, a lack of focus, an attention to detail piece. And then, during the snap, a lot of those penalties can be an aggressive penalty. At the end of the day, you don't want any, right?
Yeah.
But there's certainly a difference.
I noticed defensively. I mean, you guys went on defense right off the bat. 3 out of 4 of the first drives, 3 and out. And offense, obviously, at the end of the first quarter, really kind of got it going, that type of deal. But, man, I'll tell you what, the defense came out. Stanford didn't cross the 50 in the first half one time. And so they really set the tone early, and that's what you count on defense to do. That's why you obviously defer if you win, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking for our defense to go out there and create that, and they certainly did that on Saturday. That was, really nice to see our guys go out there and execute at a high level. And when guys do their job, have a clear understanding of what the opponent's trying to do, those things can happen.
As you look at each week, starting from week 1 to where you are now, you want to see improvement each week. Are you seeing each week what you want out of your team in terms of getting better in many areas?
We're certainly improving. Yeah, we're certainly improving. There's still a lot of improvement to go, right?
Yeah.
And I think our players recognize that, and that's the biggest key. As long as you can recognize that and you're not satisfied, we have a hunger to get better, and we're getting there.
Your defense hasn't had a ton of takeaways this year, but the last 2 games, those 2 takeaways, the one up at Washington State, the one towards the end of the first half, were huge. I mean, really important. Almost like they scored 2 touchdowns themselves, putting offense in a position like they did in this game.
Yeah, it's a game changer. When you talk about explosive plays and takeaways, like we've said every week, that's really going to be the focus, and it leads to wins, right? So they come in bunches. We want to be a team that attacks the ball on defense. We want to be a team that protects the ball on offense, and when our guys do that, it gives us a great chance to win.
The other thing defensively that you guys did really well, Coach, is, and Jerry and I have seen it with all the years that we've done the Stanford offense, it's really good on first down. And when they're good on first down, it's a difficult offense to defend. You guys defensively were good on first down.
Yeah, you want a team to get off rhythm, right? And when they get into second down and second and long, you can start to play those situations like third down, right, defensively. And I think we were able to be on the aggressive and be able to attack in some of those scenarios because we got good stops on first.
Got a lot more questions for you, more to talk about. I did have a question from down home. Somebody watched the game, wanted to know why you don't call more 80-yard touchdown plays for Bo Nix.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We're thinking about installing one this week. We'll see. No, that was a fun run to see. But, I go back to that play. It was a good decision to protect the ball. The initial read wasn't there. Good protection up front from the offensive line. But maybe some of the most impressive pieces to that play were what happened down the field.
Terrence
right?
Ferguson.
Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah.
Scrape, a drill that we do in practice every day. In special teams, we call it scrape the paint, where, you put yourself in position between the defender and the ball carrier where you're not going to get a penalty, right? But you're also able to protect the runner. Troy Franklin has a big block there at the end of that run, and obviously being able to finish off that run for Bo were all big pieces of that.
Blocking has been, a big part of the success of this offense. Chase Cota, a little screen pass, it opens up and wow. And you've had a number of explosion plays that are occurring more frequently. It's because of blocking.
Yeah, it's a huge piece of it, right? When you're able to play without the ball and create big plays for the people around you, that happens with effort, and that happens because you love your teammates. And when we have guys that are playing without the ball really well, it's going to lead to explosive plays.
We got to get a break in and we'll come back with more. We got to look ahead to Arizona. We'll do that. This team's rolling. They got a long way to go, though, and they know it. And we're going to talk about the improvements they have made and more to come. Probably we'll see a lot more of that this week. We are Toyota Coaches Show. We are in the studio, and we are right back here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
More Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey after this timeout. You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studio. I'm Jerry Allen with Jorgie, head coach Dan Lanning. It's our Pepsi Coaches Show, brought to you by Pepsi, and of course here the show presented by Toyota. Coach, we just were talking a moment ago during the break about just the little things that players have to know and be reminded of, fundamentals if you want to call it. We were talking about Bo and his run and some other things where little things can make a great play go wrong if you don't finish the play. And that's part of pounding guys all the time, saying, hey, you don't have to make the flashy great play, do the little things well.
Yeah, I think it can get lost, in the mix a little bit when you look at big plays like that and you go back and you start to break down the minute details that lead to big plays. And it, almost always involves, a clean fundamental by somebody being executed, the decision to make a block in front rather than behind, the extra effort that's required. So all that stuff adds up for sure.
Yeah, we talked about you talked about Terrence Ferguson, Forsyth on Chase Coda's long run. Again, he pops and eliminates two guys. It doesn't necessarily wipe them out, not a crackback type of block that people like to see, the spectacular ones. Just eliminate two guys and up the field he goes. But the thing I want to mention to you is your offense has been great in the red zone. 5 for 5 again in the red zone, getting points. You'd rather have touchdowns every single time than field goals, but getting points, including Camden Lewis, who's perfect this year, and touchdowns.
Yeah, Cam's done a great job for us. He's been very accountable, and it's a guy that we know when we send him out there that points are going to be put on the board. But it's always good to score, right? Every time you have the ball, you want to have an opportunity to score. Certainly want touchdowns over field goals, but those guys have been executing at a high level.
Preparation each week against what we used to call a scout team, and I think you have a different term for it, and use different guys than a lot of coaches and teams do. Use, the prime suspects, I guess you could call them, good on good, iron sharpens iron. How important is that preparation when you're playing a team and the guys, if they study, already know what they're going to see?
Yeah, it's huge. If you can replicate the looks that you're actually going to get in a game in practice, it's like you played the game before it happened. And I think our guys can be really in tune to that if they get a clean look. It's always fun to me, to go back after the game and pull a practice clip that mirrored exactly what happened in the game and be able to reflect that, like, hey, we did this on Tuesday against this defensive look and our offense executed, then be able to carry that over on Monday. But when we review the game as a team, that's a big, big win for us.
Boy, both sides of the ball, the interior line of scrimmage, defensive line, offensive line. I mean, there's other guys, too, that make plays. Those two sides of the ball in the trenches are really playing well right now.
Yeah, when you can win the game up front, right, it makes the rest of the game a lot easier. And those guys have to play at a high level for us to be successful, and they've been able to do it the last few weeks.
See a lot of guys playing in a game, and a lot of times you see toward the end of a game and you got a big lead, guys coming off the bench. But it seems like you're rotating a lot of players in almost from the get-go. Your depth showing up pretty well.
Yeah, and I think for players to be successful, you have to continue to develop that, right? And it doesn't always make sense to people, but for us, we want to try to develop as many players as we can. I wish we could do more, right? I wish we could get more guys in there in those situations because you're going to grow the most from in-game experience.
Yeah, and the confidence that they're building from that in-game experience. Bucky Irving, Troy Franklin, obviously Bo Nix playing pretty well, the offensive line. It's just neat to see those guys really feel good about what they're doing, but it all happens out on the practice field before it happens on the game, doesn't
Absolutely. Absolutely. It starts there.
Your team leaders each week in preparation for coming off of a game where you played really well and scored a lot of points, but also had some points that need to be cleaned up. How much or how important are your team leaders in helping you coach guys through areas that need to be worked on?
Yeah, they're big. They keep the main thing the main thing. They do a good job of recognizing the needs of our team, and they understand that we're not playing our best ball yet, and we have to get there, and they can help us get it. And I think our guys have embraced that challenge all year.
I know we talked about Cam Lewis and obviously taking care of the field goal piece of it. How did you feel about special teams overall from that game?
I thought overall we played a relatively clean game. A couple of things that we certainly want back, but saw some big kicks in the punting game. Never want to be a team that's punting, but when you do, you want to be able to flip the field. We were able to do that at times, and overall, I think that's getting more and more, becoming more and more of a weapon for us.
You headed back out on the road this week. Is the preparation during the week and practices really any different from a road game to a home game?
There's small, minute differences. Obviously practicing with crowd noise. When you're on offensive series in practice, trying to replicate what that sound might be like, how it affects your cadence, how it affects some of those things that you'll see. Outside of that, there's small differences that we make for each opponent, but a lot of the preparation is still the same.
Much improved Arizona team. I mean, they're on the right side of wins and losses, which they haven't been for a while. Pretty confident team. They love to play at home. Talk about Arizona a little bit, if you would.
I think it's a great example of what we brought up earlier. They're a team that's continued to get better and better every single week, right? And they're really, I think they're the number one explosive pass offense in the country right now with plays over 35 yards. They do a good job of pushing the ball down the field. They have a quarterback that can extend plays. And then on defense, they're able to create some havoc at times. So they're playing clean football, and they're playing better ball now than they were week one. And Coach Fish has done a phenomenal job of just getting his team better and better and utilizing his weapons. They have a lot of weapons on offense that are tough to defend.
Sometimes we don't talk about the guys who make a difference by name or numbers during the week to prepare your team. Who gets to be Delora this week in practice?
We've had a couple different guys do it. It's right now – again, Jake Van Dyne's done a great job for us on that side of the ball. But, again, we do all these good-on-good periods where we're getting similar looks, whether it be Bo over there at times or Ty Thompson. I mean, Jay, all those guys are able to give us looks throughout the week.
He's kind of a slinger, isn't he? I mean, he's just – it's like a gunslinger when Delora's playing. We saw him here at Austin Stadium last year when Washington State came to town when he was playing for the Cougs. And, I mean, he makes a lot of plays. You talked about it. Good feet, moves around, makes some plays that are pretty interesting, and tough guy to defend. You never know what he's going to do.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you want to play through the echo of the whistle, right? Don't assume he's down. He's never down until he's down. And when he does move, he looks to throw, and he throws lasers, right? He's not a guy that's dropping, moon balls, right? He's really throwing them on a rope and does a good job of it.
You are approaching the halfway point of your first season. This sixth game coming up. Is it gone fast, or is it just a blur? I mean, what's going through your mind?
Yeah, it's been quick. It's been quick. I would love to sit here and say we're just starting it, but it goes super fast, and I don't think you really get time to sit back and think about it until it's probably sitting here and you're at the last game. Yeah. So have to enjoy the moments. I enjoy every practice just as much as I enjoy games. I enjoy the prep, but it's definitely gone fast.
And your team is getting better. They're improving in most areas where you want them to, week by week by week. And as long as you see that, well, you're not satisfied, because coaches are never satisfied, but you like the progress they're making.
Yeah, we talk about being great isn't easy, right? And it's not going to get easier, right? In fact, we want our players to they want hard, right? Make it hard now, coach, so we can be easier once we get into the game. And that's certainly the goal for us, and they've done a good job of that.
Well, there's one thing he's brought from Georgia with him, right? Yeah. The weather.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the weather's been, this has been just unbelievable. So you've kind of brought the magic of the weather and a bunch of other magic with you, too. But
this weather's been way better than Georgia weather. It's not near as humid. I mean, I need to take you guys down there and experience some of that humidity right now. This is, it's been beautiful. Yeah. It's been just absolutely amazing. Certainly enjoyed it with our players.
Well, we've enjoyed the first 5 games. Certainly, even that first game, it was fun to get things started. Maybe not the way you wanted, but, boy, they've come a long way since then. And there's still a long way to go. I think that's the good news. There's been a lot of improvement, and you still got more ahead of you, right?
That's right. We want to play our best ball at the end of the season and keep making strides as we go forward to continue to improve.
All right. It is our Pepsi Coaches Show, actually Toyota Coaches Show. Coaches segment brought to you by Pepsi. We're going to let you sneak out of here and get ready for the Arizona trip. And, again, appreciate you coming in and spending this time with us on a Wednesday night. I know you got a lot of busy stuff ahead of you, but thanks again.
Yeah, thanks, you. Coach. Appreciate you guys. Congratulations on 35 years,
thanks.
Jerry.
35.
Big milestone.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
It's a team. I tell you what. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get out. We got a player coming up. Joey, you Ryan Walk. Oh, my gosh. That's going to be a good one. That's coming up next as we continue our Arizona week in the Country Financial Studio. It's a Toyota Coaches Show, and Joey's got Ryan Walk when we come back here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. With remarkable checking, My OCCU mobile banking, and nationwide ATM access. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans, and lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/remarkable.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 16 convenient locations across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. I almost said it's Duck Insider because Duck Insider's logo is sitting over there. It's the Toyota Coaches Show. So Ryan Walk's in grad school. That's why I'm sitting in this chair, and you're going to hear a conversation that Ryan and I had just a few hours ago. I am not lying when I say has been literally years in the making. Ryan Walk, ladies and gentlemen, is here. Ryan, thanks for taking the time, first of all. Okay, so we're recording, and I want to start there because This guy's in a class from 4:30 to 7:30 every Wednesday. Grad school, congratulations. You already have 1 degree. You're working on a second. Tell fans about that.
Yeah, working on my second degree right now. Part of the UO Teach program here at Oregon. We got a great education program. And, working on getting my master's in education right now.
That's awesome. So did you do undergrad in education also?
No, my undergrad, I was actually a math major and a business minor.
So you're going to be a math teacher?
That's the goal.
All right. So you got to answer something for me. Husband of a teacher, okay? Husband of a teacher. I've been told that the way we teach elementary school math has changed since I was in school. Can you enlighten me?
So I have no experience with elementary school. I like no clue at all. That's kind of why I'm sticking to high school, is because I don't know how well I would handle younger kids. Yeah. So I think high school is kind of the area for me.
Do you always want to be a teacher?
No, I didn't. It was kind of when I was a senior in high school and getting ready to go to college. My parents said, what are you going to major in? What are you going to study? And I kind of just gave the classic, like, I think I'm going to do business. And they were like, well, what are you going to do with that? And I was like,
business.
I was like, business. They were like, well, you can't just go to college and not have a plan. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. And they were like, well, you're always a really good math student. Like, what do you think about, like, teaching math? And I had some really good mentors at my high school. They were also math teachers and coached football. And they were like, you could do something like that. And I was like, well, like, I do want to be around, like, football when I'm done. And so I think that's actually a great idea. And so that was kind of how I got the idea, and then I just kind of ran with it.
All right. I always ask people when they come into the studio, you've seen me do this, I know. And we talked about a little bit of it there, but I always like people to tell their 2-minute life story. So I've got a stopwatch running, and I know you're competitive. We've got a leaderboard. The closest person to 2 minutes ever. We never had somebody hit it right on the nose. You could be the first one.
Okay, so we're trying to hit it right at 2 minutes,
yeah.
Not under.
Well, you could go under. We're not Price is Right rules. Like, you could go over.
Okay.
Like, one of our closest was like 2:04. Pretty good.
Okay.
1:59.56 is the closest we've ever had, which is really good.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, they might have cheated. I don't know. It's possible. I've been told that. Bo Nick said this a couple weeks ago. Like, there's no way that's real. That person had to be stopwatching it. So I'm stopwatching you.
Okay.
You ready? 2-minute life story of Ryan Walk.
All right. Let's do it.
Go.
Okay. Born and raised in Eugene, Oregon. Practically grew up in those stands out there in Autzen Stadium. Let's see. Yeah. Grew up playing sports. I've always loved sports. Both my parents went to school here. Always grew up a Duck fan. And so, yeah, I went to Sheldon High School in town here. Played football, basketball, did track and field as well. Got to play with a guy who's pretty good at football, Justin Herbert. Might have heard of him. Yeah, I had a great experience growing up at Sheldon and playing sports there. From there, getting to Oregon. So my senior year in high school, I tore my ACL. Didn't get to play at all, no football, so didn't have much film. So it was hard for schools to offer me. They said they didn't really have anything to offer me off of. So ended up walking on here. That was my best option, and just kind of took it and ran with it. Like I said, I was a math major in undergrad, business minor, working on my graduate degree, master's in education right now. And, yeah, my plan is to be a high school teacher when I'm done here, coach high school football, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That was pretty good. You got another, 32 seconds if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say I was way under. That's kind of all I got, though.
I mean, you're an lineman, though. You got to have a good play clock in your mind, so you always want to be under.
Right.
That's the mentality.
Yeah.
I get it. Tell your family, though. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so my mom and dad. So my mom's actually from Canada, and she did track, and she got recruited and came down here and was a heptathlete on the track and field team. And then my dad played football, and he was from Southern California and got recruited up here. And so they both played here, and they both really liked Eugene, and so just decided to stick around. Yeah, and then I have a younger sister, Cammie. She plays basketball at Southern Oregon. Pretty good athlete herself. So, yeah, it's kind of the family life.
Who's the best athlete in the family?
Oh, the best athlete in the whole family?
Whole family.
Probably my mom, because to be able to do 7 events in 2 days.
Crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so it's fresh on my mind, and actually Canadian connection. Brian Tyson-Eaton was inducted into the Hall of Fame, University of Oregon Athletic Hall of Fame. We did the event a few weeks ago, and I'm always amazed with the multi-events, like just the endurance that it takes. So yeah, I get it. Did you do decathlon at all? Did you ever get into it?
No. No way.
No way.
Absolutely not. No, I did shot put and discus, and that was it.
Yeah. That was enough, right?
That was more than enough for me. Yeah, that was good.
All right, so your mom, best athlete. I was curious. You mentioned like the math and football connection. There's a lot of movies, right, throughout Hollywood and everywhere else where the math teacher is the football coach, or I feel like it's generally speaking the math teacher.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Like, are people with math brains just good coaches naturally in football?
I think there's definitely a connection. Football is definitely a numbers game, especially the offensive side of things.
Yeah.
You want to play to your numbers wherever you feel you have advantages. I don't know. There's probably some sort of connection there.
Are you a big like analysis and like in baseball, we would say sabermetrics, right? Like that became the big thing in baseball. In football, it's like advanced statistics. Are you really into that? Is that a natural progression for you?
I find that stuff interesting, but I wouldn't say that I'm really into it. Like, I would probably have to learn more about it to really have a good feel for it.
All right. Ryan, walk with us. All right. Now, you mentioned this before we got recording. Ryan did the most viewed and appreciated Quack Minutes ever. I mean that sincerely because no one cares what Rob and I think. We know that. They want to hear, fans that is, from the student athletes. Well, you gave us an entire year of we did Throwback Thursday Quack Minutes where Ryan would come on with Rob and I and talk about favorite memories from Autzen Stadium because you mentioned like you grew up in those stands.
Yeah.
How many of your like best memories are associated with this program now because you've played in it, you grew up in those stands? Just how cool of a connection is that?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And some of the memories that I've been able to make since I've been playing here are extra special, obviously. Having put in the work and being with the guys and all that. Like some of these memories will definitely be my fondest throughout my life. But I would definitely say this program has a special place in my heart and. Super happy that I've been able to be a part of it.
What's the best game you attended as a fan in Autzen Stadium?
Probably, I would say 2009 Fright Night when USC came to town.
Good game.
I mean, Autzen was rocking that night. Night game, blackout, and USC they'd been the guy in the conference for a long time at that point. And it kind of felt like Oregon was coming, and then that game happened. And it was like, okay, Oregon's here to stay after that game.
That's cool. And now, favorite game, the obvious progression in this question sequence. Favorite game in Autzen that you've played in yourself as a player?
Okay, I would say probably 2018 UW. Does that have to be a game I actually was like on the field?
Nah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is your
I was a part of that game. I didn't play, but 2018 UW, the walk-off touchdown, Verdell. That was awesome.
How much pride did the entire offensive line group take in that win? Because I mean, there was a lot gets made about the push and everything that you guys did.
Yeah. And I think it was even more special. Not that you ever want to see guys get hurt, but I mean, Panay goes down in that game. Dallas goes down in that game, and then you throw Brady Aiello and Jacob Capra in there, and those guys didn't miss a beat, and so that's something I think you take pride in as a unit that we're 5 as one. It doesn't really matter what 5 you threw out there; they were going to go out and get the job done.
We hear from a lot of offensive line coaches throughout the years about the, for lack of a better description, cliches that you guys are overworked and underappreciated. Those sorts of things. Your 5 bodies, 1 mind. That was obviously a big thing from Coach Mirabal. How much of that kind of stuff and those cliches are true? Like, how much do you guys identify with that?
I would say a decent amount. Mostly because Alex Forsythe's all about it. Like, Alex is Alex. He's all about those, man. That's his thing. And so, since he's kind of the leader, the forefront of the O-line, I think we've kind of taken that in as our personality as a unit. It's kind of the cliches are kind of like, yeah, we're good with them.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. You can really hear it in Ryan's voice. But I know, in all seriousness, I know you guys are close. I mean, that's a pretty close friendship. And you, Alex, the entire offensive line, you guys are pretty close, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we're all super close. And I mean, especially Alex and I, roommates for 5 years now. I mean, I feel like we haven't left each other's side for the last 6 years. You know, you're going to have a pretty good bond with somebody if that's the case.
Yeah, so I had Alex on for Media Day. We did it on Duck Insider. I ventured to not ask him a question that he had been asked ever. I think I succeeded. We ended up talking about video games.
Okay.
Accurate that he's a better NCAA and Madden player than you?
Whoa. NCAA?
I'm just throwing it out there, Ryan.
Did he say that?
He alluded.
No, he didn't.
He alluded to, well, I should say that he was the best. He definitively said that he was top 3 overall on the team in video game play.
Definitely in Call of Duty.
Okay.
Call of Duty, he is far surpassed me, way better than me, not even really close.
And you just let that one go.
That's fine.
But NCAA football.
But if we throw an NCAA 14 right now, if it's within 3 touchdowns, I'd be ashamed of myself.
Wow. Okay, so
put that on there.
Hold, please. I'm sure that you had a copy of these, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 2 was the console we had in our house.
Yeah. So when Joey Harrington's on the cover of that game, do you remember that as a kid? Like, was that a big moment for you?
I was like 3 years old when this came out, so that was a little early for me.
But seeing it later, I guess, maybe after the fact.
Yeah. No, I guess I was so young when that happened that I didn't really realize how special how cool that is to be the cover of a video game. Like, I mean, the first time I remember seeing that, I was probably like 6 years old, and I remember seeing it and thinking like, oh, whatever.
So your first game was probably like NCAA 07, 06 maybe.
I think 06.
Yeah,
I think 06 was the first one.
That was a good one. We're going to take a timeout. More with Ryan Walk coming up. Duck offensive lineman. Great conversation. More on the way on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show. Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Back on the Toyota Coaches Show in the Country Financial Studio, Joey Mac continuing our conversation with senior offensive lineman Ryan Walk. You've done a lot of these, and it's easy for someone like me to ask you questions about growing up in the stands at Autzen, being the hometown guy. You've gotten a lot of those questions, and I'm sure you appreciate those questions because it's a big part of who you've become and who you are. What do you wish that someone like me asked you more often? Like, what do you wish as a student athlete somebody asked you that you wish got more attention?
Dang, that's a tough question.
You need to think about it.
That's a hard hitting question right there. I feel like for the most part, a lot of who I am is it's been revealed for the most part. You know, I'm pretty open usually, and I don't usually keep stuff close to the chest for the most part. I would say for the most part, I do a pretty good job of, you know, if people have a question, I usually answer it pretty truthfully, and so I'd say everything that I want to be out there is out there.
All right. Good. See, then someone like me, I this is nice. I've done my job. This is good.
Totally.
This is good. Okay, then now I'm going to ask you a bunch of other questions that maybe you've been asked before.
Perfect.
What happens at the bottom of a pile after a tackle's made right around the line of scrimmage?
Usually a lot of, like, groaning and grunting. Like, sometimes you'll hear the occasional, like, get off me, like if someone's, like, under, like, 3 people. Sometimes there's some swear words.
Yep.
That's about typical at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When you're on a blocking assignment on the offensive line, you're usually so focused, I'd imagine, on your assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I've heard a lot of people discuss that when you're a veteran, though, you kind of just start to get a feel. Like, your bubble gets a little bigger. You kind of know what's happening around you. Did you go through that process as a student athlete?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I think a lot of, like, when you're first playing offensive line, especially at the college level, like, you're just so focused on being able to do your job, because it's pretty overwhelming at first.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're just trying to get your stuff done. Yeah. And then once you kind of get a better feel for things and you kind of understand the offense a little bit, and you can kind of your vision starts getting a little wider, and you can start seeing more stuff. And I think that's kind of just the game of football in general. Like, now when I step up to the line of scrimmage, I notice safeties. I notice, you know, linebacker alignment. I notice things like that, which, like, 4 or 5 years ago, who's in front of me?
Right.
And that was it.
How do I knock that guy over?
Or how do I just move him as far as I can across the line of scrimmage?
Right.
And now you start seeing things, and I mean, it helps you just become a better football player in general.
Do you have a moment now, like in this season, where like, you know, like, oh, this is going to be a big play? Like, when does that click for you on the O-line?
Yeah, sometimes when you look at the front, it's run plays for me.
Yeah.
I don't understand pass concepts enough to be able to look at the safeties and be like, oh yeah, too high, this is going to be great. No,
that's right. That's Bo's job.
Yeah, Bo's all over that. But with run plays, sometimes, you know, if it's a counter play or something, and I see they're light to the side we're running counter to, I can see pre-snap. I'm like, okay, if we get this blocked up, this can really hit.
Right.
And, you know, you'll see it sometimes when we have big plays where Coach Dillingham does a great job calling perfect play versus a look, or Bo will check us into the perfect play, and, you know, then all we got to do is do our job, and it's going to be a big hitter.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to ask you, too, is about your career, because you're one of the veterans on this team, and you've gone through now different head coaches, different position coaches. How different is the instruction from coach to coach, and how much have you taken maybe from a lot of different coaches to be the player you are today?
Yeah. There's definitely been a big adjustment from Coach Mirabal to Coach Clem. They see offensive line play a little bit differently, and not that either of them's better than the other, but they see it differently, and so we're focusing on a lot of different techniques now than we were in the past. And I think the stuff we're doing now has helped us a lot. And I think just to have that other perspective, you know, being an older group, I think that's helpful, because you can take a little bit from, you know, when we're done here. Obviously, we're doing what Coach Clem wants now, but, you know, when you're done here, if there was something you thought like, oh, maybe I kind of liked this, or, you know, I liked this from Coach Clem, this from Coach Mir, you know, you can kind of take that stuff and you take that with you into the next level if you're fortunate enough, or if you want to coach afterwards into that career as well.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is as your career continues on the field, off the field, you do have more to draw from, don't you? I feel like it's going to make you a smarter football coach, player, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Having multiple perspectives is always a good thing, and I think that we've been really, you know, in the moment, obviously you don't want coaching changes.
Right.
You don't want that, but when it's all said and done, I think we'll look back and be thankful for all the different perspectives we've been able to see, and, you know, we've really got to play for a lot of really good coaches, and, you know, that's definitely something we're lucky for.
Well, and as someone who's been through those transitions, I just want to say that I think a lot of Duck fans look at the veteran group and say, hey, thank you, because you guys did maintain this group. You know, can you just kind of go back in time and tell fans about that, and just what was going through your guys' minds when you guys, the leaders, the veterans, really rallied the team, and now having success on the field, it's paying off so far.
Yeah. I think as an offensive line unit, I'll speak to that. There was really no decision to be made by all of us. It kind of felt like we were all going to come back. The only one I would say we weren't solid declared momentarily. That kind of caught us all off guard. We didn't know that, and then it happened. We were like, oh, okay, And then when he decided to come back, it was like, oh, even better. He'll be back next year. And then we weren't really sure on TJ. We kind of thought TJ was going to declare. And then, he didn't really talk to any of us for like a week, kind of took some time with his family and discussed it. And then he told us, yeah, I'm going to come back. And it was like, great. We've got 5 guys back that have a lot of playing experience. And to carry that into a new staff, I think was really important. And I think we've definitely seen some success because of that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's so fun for someone like me who's down there with you guys at practice and on the field, and just to see the success and all the hard work paying off. Because believe me, I can empathize with what you guys as a team went through, and I think fans can as well. But a lot of us can't sympathize, if that makes sense. We didn't go through it, but we see that the amount of hard work that you guys put in. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you kind of back into the nostalgic questioning, if I can. What would 10-year-old Ryan think about you today?
He'd probably be pretty excited. He'd be pretty fired up. I can remember as a kid, I really looked up to Oregon football players, and it really meant a lot when one of them, if you after a game, gave you knuckles or signed something or that really brought a lot of joy to me as a kid, and to be able to have that opportunity to have that impact on a kid, you kind of see a little bit of yourself in some of the kids lining up after games and whatnot. And so I think 10-year-old me would be pretty fired up to see where I'm at now.
Similar question. I asked this to a lot of veterans, especially. What advice would you give to 17-year-old you?
Just work hard and everything's going to take care of itself. Because I mean, when I was 17 was when I tore my ACL, and that things, it was kind of depressing there for a little while. The next move was unsure. I didn't really know if I was going to have an opportunity to play anywhere. If I was, it was probably going to be small college, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I dreamed of making it at this level, and it was kind of just grim there for a little while. And I would just tell myself, just keep working hard, and everything's going to work itself out.
Yeah, it paid off. Well, we're sure glad you're here.
Glad I made it.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Duck fans in general can agree with that. Well, it's been 20 minutes. I've yet to ask you really anything about what's happening this week. Keys to success on the road in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, just taking our show on the road this week. Super important that we play a good football game because we're playing a good football team this week. I know they're going to be fired up with us going in there, and obviously there's a lot of talk around the struggles we've had as a program in the state of Arizona over the past few years. So it's a big game this week. They've got a great offense. They fly around on defense. They're a lot better football team than they were last year, and they're definitely somebody that we need to bring our best game against to give ourselves a shot on the road. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's a great opportunity for us, and can't wait for Saturday.
Ryan, thanks for being a Duck.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being you, and don't be a stranger, all right?
Won't be.
Awesome stuff with Ryan Walk. We're going to come back. Quick segment, running against the clock a little bit. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. With remarkable checking, My OCCU mobile banking, and nationwide ATM access. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans. And lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/remarkable.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved.
When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's
our roads.
It's our safety. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Welcome back to the Toyota Coaches Show. Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey, the Hog Mac. Took up all the time.
Sorry. Ryan Walk was so good.
He
We
is.
recorded with him
He was
earlier
awesome.
because he's in a grad school class right now. And when I asked, hey, can you still do the show? He was like, yeah, I can do it in the afternoon. And
He was the best.
Oh, it was
He
great.
was the
So,
best.
Ryan, thank you. But, yeah, sorry, we're a little
That's
too
worth
tardy.
it. It was worth it. We'll come back and wrap the show up after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes!
So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be. We're here.
Whoa, that was fast!
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Toyota Coaches Show. Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey in Arizona. Boy, we've had some Donnybrooks down there, haven't we? Some
Yeah.
great ones.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, we have.
finishes.
So, I got an admission. I've never been to their football stadium.
Oh.
Really?
I was the best man in my cousin's wedding in 2018. And I don't have a lot of good memories of that game.
I thought you were going to say the wedding. Oh, holy
I have a
cow.
lot of great memories of the wedding, but I don't have great memories of the 2018 game. Don't have good memories even when Marcus Mariota was the quarterback down there. Tough place to play.
Tough place, but we've had some great victories. The Ducks have had some really nice victories.
Yeah, there's been some big games
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
and
overtime games.
that have gone Oregon's way, no doubt
Oh.
about it. So, yeah.
Well, 4 o'clock our pregame show. 6 o'clock start means you get home about, what, 2, 3 in the morning?
Yeah.
Another one of those. But it's okay because your Ducks are going to the desert to play a little football. It's going to be a Donnybrook of a game. Potential for a lot of offense both ways. Huh?
Yeah. With Jaden DeLora, he's a wild card. And I mean a wild card.
We'll break
see.
into the stadium. Okay, bear down. Okay, just bear down. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight's show has also been brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.